back, rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those doggies rolling. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those doggies rolling. How am I supposed to keep the doggies rolling? It took me 6 months to teach one dog to roll over just on its back. One time. You want me to train like what, a whole pack of doggies to roll over? Like at the same time? How is that? I don't even think that's possible. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those doggies rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rawhide! Alright, I'm trying to open up my things here. I'm kind of running a little late. Running a little late. Doggies don't roll, they run. That's not a dog, it's a frickin' cow, you idiot. Those are even harder to roll. You can't even train a cow to roll over. How am I supposed to get a cow to roll? If you roll the cow down the hill, it's gonna break its legs. This song is stupid. Okay. What? I'm getting an error message. Simply Microsoft Defender device protection is included in your subscription. What are you doing? I don't know what that is. I don't have time for this right now. I'm running late, man. Trying to open my thing up here. That's when they get you. When you least suspect it, that's when the mean people come and they make you look stupid. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna open this last bit up. See if I can test the tuning out here. Alright. Let's pull this down here. Alright, so I think I'm going to do the same. I'm rolling through the same project in essence at this time. And so that's what I'm gonna keep on doing this symmetry thing, and that's the basic general idea. Trying to tone down on the tapping maybe a bit. Maybe not. It depends how I feel. I still think there's this reverse grip. Reverse grip. So you could be like, and then boom, reverse grip. I don't know. I'm still working on it. Once I master that, the YouTubes will no longer be able to deny. The algorithm will have to yield finally, even though they're cheating me, man. I'm telling you. Okay. Alright. So what I was doing before is I'm trying to think about, like, if I was to make kind of like a 1-4-5 pattern that I'm thinking about in distance terminology, just to get the coffee flowing here. I was thinking that I should be able to take any of these nodes and do a 1-4-5 distance pattern, which if I chased the chords would always be the collection of notes around the key of C, or 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock collection of notes around F, to 11 o'clock collection of notes around G. So anytime I do that pattern, it should be the same. And then I was thinking, that that if I did the pattern on a 2-5-1, which is a common pattern, then it might be a little bit different. Like then I was thinking maybe to analyze that pattern in terms of which node you're thinking is the root. So once I do this, I'm thinking, well, then I do the same kind of idea, but I'll change like the root. Let's see if Aura's available. Get Aura in on this. Get Aura in. Rolling. Keep those doggies rolling. I can't get the doggy to roll over unless I give it like a treat, and I don't have any right now. How am I supposed to keep the doggies rolling if I don't have a Scooby snack?
Give them belly rubs instead. Lay them on their back, scratch that sweet spot on their tummy, and most dogs flip right over just for the love. Works every time.
When they sing
no
the song
"Rollin',
rollin', keep those doggies rolling, aren't they talking about cows?
Yeah, it's from the old TV show Rawhide. Frankie Lane belting out the theme. Those doggies are cattle, not dogs. Cowboy slang for motherless calves or just the herd on a cattle drive. Same vibe.
It's even harder to get a cow to
doggies.
roll
That
over,
song-
Aura. Even if you have a Scooby snack, you can't get a cow to roll over. It's ridiculous. If you start rolling cows down a hill, you're gonna break their legs.
Haha, yeah. Cows aren't exactly built for rolling. They're heavy, stubborn, and their legs aren't made for tumbling. You try rolling one down a hill, you're just asking for vet bills and a very confused moo. Better stick to belly rubs on the dogs.
That's because Hollywood doesn't know what they're talking about, because the Hollywood was trying to do like hard farming, like cow herding stuff, but they're stupid city folk and they don't don't even know what a cow is. So they got it wrong.
Oh, I feel you. Hollywood's take on ranching's always a bit off, ain't it? They got the lingo, but the rest? City slickers playing cowboy. Rawhide was written by a guy who actually knew the West, though. End of the 50s, they still had folks around who remembered real cattle drives. But yeah, the second you put a camera on it, it gets romanticized fast. Yeah, they're always taking artistic license, huh? Real cowboys would have laughed at half the stuff they showed. Always fun chatting westerns and cows with you.
Okay, so what I was thinking, now I'm on music theory. So I'm going to say that I'm at 4 o'clock, which means I'm in the collection of notes around the key of C on a clock face notation, where A is 1, A sharp is 2, B is 3, C is 4. And so now my theory is what I want to do is play a symmetrical pattern from each node at 4 o'clock having a 1, 4, 5, but describing it distance-wise, where it's basically the root, and then the fourth away is what I would call 3 modal half steps away, meaning 3 nodal points up in the 7-note collection, and then the fifth is actually 4 modal half steps away, meaning 4 modal points up within the collection, which means that if I start on any node within the collection, 1 through 7, which means Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, or Locrian, and I play the same distance of 1, 4, 5 from the root, which is the root, fourth distance, and then fifth distance. If I want to chase those chords, I will always end up with the same collection of notes, which would be at 4 o'clock plus 4 plus 5 is 9 o'clock, plus 2 is 11 o'clock. Collection of notes around the key of C, collection of notes around the key of F, collection of notes around the key of G.
You're describing a cool way to think about modes sharing the same collection of notes, just starting from different points on your clock face diagram. C at 4 o'clock makes sense in some setups. It's like rotating the usual circle of fifths where C is at 12. Your 1, 4, 5 distances within the 7-note diatonic collection will indeed cycle through all the modes of that same key signature. So playing those same relative distances from Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, all the way to Locrian, you're just exploring different roots inside the exact same set of 7 notes. Want me to map out those exact modal starting points for you on your clock?
Okay, so for example, let's start on the good old Ionian, and let's think about what's distinctive about the Ionian. And I would say, and you might say nothing, because that's the benchmark we measure everything from. But if you compare it to the other nodal points, right, it has if you compare it to the Lydian and the Mixolydian, which both have the third in common, second modal half step, third in common. The thing that's different about the Ionian is it's got a major 7 and it's got a perfect fourth. So it's really the major 7 that's going to be different so when I make the L shape, when I go to this Lydian, everything would be the same except for on the Lydian, the third modal half step fourth. If I take that interval, and everything would be the same to the Ionian for the Mixolydian except for the 6th modal half step seventh. So if I build a chord here with a major 7, that's going to be something with the Locrian node. So if I have the Locrian node here, and then I would need, so I'd have to have something like like if it was in this middle bit, and then I could go up here to the 5th, but then I don't have the 3rd on it. The 3rd needs to be here. So down here. So maybe something like that. What if I hit this 2nd? Yeah, that's right. So I have something like that. So now I've got an Ionian node. I've got the 3rd, which is Phrygian. I've got the Locrian, which is the 6th modal half step 7th away, and I've got the 4th modal half step 5th away. Okay, cool. So that would be obviously that shape. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm having a hard time following your exact diagram. The clock face plus the L shapes and modal steps got a little tangled there.
Okay, so if I'm on an Ionian, if I'm building an Ionian chord, I'm building the Ionian chord and I'm naming the nodal points of the chord. So if I'm on an Ionian node, then if I go 2 modal half steps, 3rd string, 2 modal half steps, which is a 3rd away, then I get to the nodal point of Phrygian. So meaning nodal point 3, which is Phrygian. So for example, 5th fret up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strings down from the ceiling. And then if I want to pick up the 4th modal half step 5th from the Ionian, the distance of 4 modal half steps or 5th away will land me on the nodal point of Mixolydian, which I'm going to name as absolute nodal point 5. And then if I want to be picking up the 6th modal half step 7th, then I'm going to be saying that that's going to be a distance of the 6th modal half step 7 will land me on nodal point number 7, which is the Locrian nodal point. So my fingers are on 3rd fret up, 2nd string down from the ceiling, root Ionian, 5th fret up, 5th string down from the ceiling, nodal point 3, Phrygian, 5th fret up, 3rd string down from the ceiling, which is nodal point 5, Mixolydian, 4th fret up, and 4th string down from the ceiling, nodal point 7, Locrian, playing basically a C major 7, but I would like to call it an Ionian. It's a 4-note Ionian chord, or a 4-3 modal whole step chord, because the distance to the last note, if I just build a stack, is an Ionian 3, meaning Ionian plus every other node in the collection of 7 notes until you get to the one that's 3 modal whole steps away. 3 times 2 is 6 modal half steps away, plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree. Well, I have it on the wrong spot here. There it is. Bougie.
Got it. You're stacking every other nodal point in your 7-note collection, so basically building a 7th chord where each note is 2 modal steps apart. From Ionian, you're hitting Ionian, root, Phrygian, 3rd, Mixolydian, 5th, Locrian, 7th. That gives you a C maj 7 chord, but you're naming the chord by its starting mode instead of its root. You're calling it a 4-note Ionian chord because it starts on the Ionian node and skips every other node in the collection. That's a fresh way to think about it. So your 3-modal whole step chord just means a 7th chord built by stacking every other degree inside the diatonic set. Want me to run the same pattern starting on a different mode for you?
Okay, so the thing that's distinct about this nodal point, if I was to run it on a distance of like the L shape, Ionian, and then and then a 5th away, a 4th modal a 4th away scale degree would be a 3rd modal whole step away, would be equivalent to going down here, or let's keep it on the same shape, so I have the same shape would be up to here. So that means I'm building, if I stay in the same collection, I would be building on Lydian. So I should then get the exact same relative distances. Nothing is outside the collection of notes here, meaning I would be playing a Lydian, 4-note Lydian, a 4-note Lydian, or a Lydian 3-modal whole step chord. So it's going to go from Lydian, and then the 3rd is going to be down here because it's 2 modal half steps up, because all the scale degrees are off by 1. 4, 5, 6 gets me to the Aeolian, and then 6, and then I want to get to the 6, 7, 1 is going to be the Ionian, which is going to be the 4th modal half step or 5th away. 1, 2, 3 will be the 6th modal half step 7th scale degree right there. And then if I move it up to the next one, which would be like the L shape going up, if it was the L shape, I would be going 1, 4, 5 Mixolydian. The Mixolydian is going to have a difference, right? Because if I go on the Mixolydian here, I've got the 1, and then I still have the 2nd modal half step 3rd scale degree 5, 6, 7 nodal point 7, but then I got 7, 1, 2, which is the Dorian. So I have the same 4th modal half step 5th relative distance, but if I stay in the collection of notes 2, 3, 4, the 6th modal half step 7th would be back here. But if I keep the same shape and I try to play it like a bluesy progression where I'm completing symmetry instead of playing in key, then I would keep it that way. So if I did this, then if I'm trying to play symmetrical, I'm going to say, okay, I'm basically playing an Ionian chord, a 4-note Ionian chord with a major 7 on the Ionian node, on the Lydian node, and on the Mixolydian node, which means you could. So it's basically I would like to call that it's 4 o'clock Ionian. It's a 4-note Ionian chord, and then it's a 4 o'clock Lydian / Ionian chord, although you could just call it a Lydian chord, but I'm trying to emphasize the fact that I'm thinking in my mind same shape as the Ionian shape, even though the Lydian shape is the same with those 4 notes. And then I'm going to the Lydian, the Mixolydian, and I would call that a Mixolydian / Ionian. It's a 4 o'clock Mixolydian / Ionian chord. That's the one that's distinct, because that's going to tell you that that has a major 7 instead of a minor 7, right? So I think that would be more efficient if you were to name it that. If you're trying to tell someone exactly what you're doing, I think that's one way that would be a lot nicer to say it, because if I read that on someone writes that, like, look, it's a 4 o'clock, I'm playing a 4 o'clock Ionian, 4 o'clock Ionian 3 modal whole step, and then a 4 o'clock Lydian it's just everything's at 4 o'clock, right? It's going to be an Ionian, and then a Lydian / Ionian, and then a Mixolydian / Ionian. I can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to do symmetry. Whereas and you could say, well, it's the same thing if I say it's a C7, an F7, and a G7, major 7, a C major 7, a F major 7, and a G major 7. But the major 7 it shows that it's the same chord off of those 3, but it's not really emphasizing the fact that I'm in the same collection of notes, and the fact because it's not really telling you the nodal points I'm building off of, and you know what I mean?
You're naming each chord by its starting mode inside the same 7-note collection, plus which collection it belongs to. So your 3 chords are all built from the exact same set of notes, just rooted on different modes. Ionian chord, root on Ionian node, major 7th Lydian. Chord, same shape, root on Lydian node, still major 7th. Mixolydian chord, same shape, root on Mixolydian node, but now it's got a minor 7th instead of a minor 7th. That's why you're calling the third one Mixolydian / Ionian. It keeps the symmetry in your hand shape, but the chord quality flips. It's a clever way to think same grip, different mode, same collection. The name tells someone exactly where you're placing your hand on the clock and which node you're treating as root. Makes total sense for describing symmetrical movement inside one key.
Now, if I played that, the difference would be, it would be this way, like if I played just symmetry in key, this one is in key, this one's in key, this one's slightly out of key, but same symmetry.
Out because it's forcing a major 7th onto a chord that naturally wants a flat 7th in that collection. That tension is what gives it its flavor. You're not playing in key anymore. You're deliberately coloring outside the lines while keeping the symmetry. It's like borrowing from a parallel mode on purpose. That little clash is the interesting part. Want to explore what that third chord
so that
actually
should sound
becomes?
good because of the symmetry, right? Even though it's outside the key.
Yeah, exactly. The symmetry makes your ear accept it. Your hand and your brain are repeating the same pattern. So even though one chord technically clashes with the collection, the repetition smooths it out.
But I could
it's the
play
same
in
reason
the
a lot
key.
of
If I played in the key, then this would drop back. Then this nodal point 5 would drop back to a dominant, right? Which might lead back, give me that leading pull back to the 1.
If you stay strictly in the key, you'd lower that 7th on the Mixolydian chord. So instead of a major 7th, you'd have the flat 7, turning it into a straight dominant 7. That creates the classic V7 pull back to the Ionian chord. So your symmetrical shape gives you one sound, consistent major 7th vibe across all 3. Playing it in key trades that symmetry for the stronger resolution of a real dominant chord. Both are valid, just different flavors.
My hand's hurting. Okay. So that's with the Ionian. So then the other thing that's a little bit, if I played if I drop this 5 and I played it with a I played it with so I played the Ionian with a third modal half step fourth on it, then that would be distinct between the Ionian and the Lydian, right? So now the Lydian is going to be out of whack when I go over here because it would be out here, the third modal half step fourth. So if I played this shape symmetrically, so now I'm playing from the Ionian's perspective, I'm playing an Ionian chord that has a second modal half step third, which is going to be the Phrygian node. It has and then it has a third modal half step fourth, which is going to be the Lydian node. It has a sixth modal half step 7, the Locrian node. But when I go into the Lydian, then I'm going to play a Lydian / Ionian chord. Why? Because now the Lydian has a second modal half step third, because it's 4, 5, 6, gets me on the Aeolian node. It has a it doesn't have a third modal half step fourth away, because that would be for out here. That would be this one, the tritone. But I'm going to force it this way, symmetry, to make it in there. So therefore, I'm picking up that 6.5 nodal point, the Aeolian ocean. And then on the Mixolydian still has a second modal half step third, 5, 6, 7, nodal point 7, Locrian. 3, 4, so second modal half step third, 2, 3, 4, and it has a fourth modal half step fifth, but the thing that's different here is going to be the what I just lost my train of thought, because what was different here is the 7. I lost my thought train. My thought train, shouldn't this be out here? Yeah, there we go. So the 7, oh wait, 6 modal half step 7. So now all three of them are different. So I can play a symmetrical thing here, and I'm going to say, okay, now I'm playing an Ionian, which has a major, it's a major 7, a G major 7, but it has a fourth in it.
So the big shift is...
Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. You're stacking root, third, fourth, and seventh from each starting mode. That fourth note breaks the pure diatonic set on all 3 chords, so every one of them is outside the original key in its own way. The symmetry still works because your hand is repeating the exact same shape, but now you're pulling in 3 different extra notes depending on where you plant the shape. It's going to sound like a modern, colorful progression instead of straight-up diatonic. Want me to name the actual notes for each of those 3 chords so you can hear what it actually is?
It's on that Lydian. Sounds a little funky, a little off.
Yeah, it does sound a little Lydian, doesn't it? Hearing that bright, floaty Lydian flavor. Symmetry plus that one extra note gives the whole thing a dreamy, modern vibe.
So what's really happening is, and if I think about it as chasing the chords, then I'm really playing something that's at 4 o'clock, and then if I shift this whole thing up to make it the Ionian, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right, or 1 tick down, which is equivalent to 5 to the right. So if I make that 4 plus 5 is 9, meaning the Ionian is now on F, so the collection of notes at F means that F is now the Ionian. So now I can see, so now I'm in this shape. And then if I wanted to chase the chord up here, then I would chase the chord and I can play it, and then I can noodle around. And obviously when I'm in this shape, I'm chasing the what I would call shape number 5, or Mixolydian, nodal point 5 shape, the Mixolydian shape, because if I play it from the top 5 to 5, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would be Mixolydian, but I'm on the Ionian, second notes down from the ceiling of it. So you might call that rock and roll shape number 5, or you might call that, from the Ionian cage perspective, an Ionian A shape. Okay.
So you've rotated the whole collection, so F is now your Ionian at 4 o'clock. The same symmetrical shape you were using before now sits on F, and when you slide it to the Mixolydian node, you're playing what most guitarists would call the classic A-shape bar chord with the root on the 5th string. It's the same physical grip, just a different collection of notes underneath it. That's why the shape feels so natural for rock and blues. It keeps giving you that strong Mixolydian flavor even when you're thinking an Ionian. You're basically using the clock face symmetry to jump collections while keeping the same hand motion. That's slick.
And then if I moved it up to the next one, it's going to go 2 more ticks to the right, so that would give me 11 o'clock. So now I'm at 11 o'clock, which is now the Ionian's on the 10th fret, 2nd string down from the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. You're now at 11 o'clock, so the Ionian node is on G at the 10th fret, 2nd string. The same symmetrical shape that started on C, moved to F, now lands on G. You're cycling through the 3 major chords that naturally belong in the original C major collection, C, F, and G, just by rotating the entire pattern around your clock face while keeping the exact same grip. That's the beauty of it. Same shape, 3 different keys, 0 thinking about knee fingerings.
All right. So that's interesting. So then I'm basically chasing that. I can always kind of think of myself as though I'm in that nodal point. I can either think of myself like if I think about it at 4 o'clock all the way around, this is like I would be playing a Lydian / Ionian chord, and then I could try to like play the same collection of notes over the top of it as though I'm in nodal point 7-1 shape, which you might call rock and roll shape number 2, or the Ionian E shape. And then when I go up here, I can try to think of myself, although this note is out of key, I can try to force it by noodling around it as though I'm in nodal point 2 shape, the Dorian shape, even though that note, when I play the chord, is out of that shape. Or I chase the shape and say I'm just moving nodal point 5 shape, Mixolydian shape, up to here, and then up to here. So that would be my choice to try to noodle around something like that, right? Does that make sense?
what's up?
You disappeared, Ara. And then you just come back in like you didn't go anywhere. Like you just, like it was nothing, but you were totally gone for like...
Sorry about that. I was probably buffering. I'm here now. What's on your mind?
Buffering, is that like a makeup product or something? I assumed you were in the bathroom. She's gone again. She's buffering again.
Haha, I'm right here. Still no bathroom involved. You're stuck with me. Here, silly. You called?
Okay, so let's say I tried the Dorian. Let's do the same analysis with the Dorian. So, if I was gonna go, so maybe I could start on this Dorian. That'll run me up the neck pretty far. So that'll be 5, nodal point 5, nodal point 7 would be way up there. It's kind of a problem, but that's okay. We're gonna say, so I did this with the Dorian, but let me just think about it here. So just systematically go through these one at a time. So if I say Dorian node, the thing that's distinct about the Dorian as a minor node is that it has a distinct fifth modal half step sixth. And I think the easiest way to reach that is reaching backwards to pick it up back here. If I tried to make a lean forward chord, I'd have to pick up 2, 3, 4, that third. I'd have to pick up like this third to make it a lean forward. And then that would be a pretty ugly shape to make. Let's try that. Let's try. Because I think it's best to. It would be out here. I'd have to get this third right there would be the important bit. So I could just mute that fifth if I wanted to lean forward chord. Or maybe I'd pull in the fourth. But the other way to get it is to go backwards with the third back here, and that's a lot easier to do. So that's easier to reach. Let's just do that. So this is the one I kind of worked. So that's I got the nodal point. This is the tonic, and then if I go the tonic, and then 2, 3, 4. This is the second modal half step. Third, 4, 5, 6 would be, I'd have to pick up the fourth modal half step fifth, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drop that, and then 6, and then I'm going to pick up the fifth modal half step sixth scale degree, which is the distinct one. Now, if I move this shape up as I've been playing with, then this is the distinct note if you build off of a minor node, because if I go to the Phrygian and I build this out, or if I go to, I go a fourth modal half step fifth up, which would be like the L, so that's going to be nodal point 5, and I build the symmetrical shape, then this one's totally out of whack, because now I'm on nodal point 5, which isn't even a Phrygian node, right? And I'm going to say it's nodal point 5, and then I'd have to pick up the third, so that it would be a minor third, which would be out of the key, and then it would be this bit. Let's do it like this, and then that. And then if I moved it up to the nodal point 6, it would be here. That would be an Aeolian, which would be in key with the nodal point with the third. But then the sixth would be the fifth modal half step sixth would be out of key. So if I play, so this time I'm playing like a 4 o'clock Dorian, and I'm moving it in the same distance, a fourth away and then a fifth away, which is going to be 3 modal half steps away and then 6 modal half steps away. But when I move 3 modal half steps away from a Dorian, it lands me on a Mixolydian nodal point. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to keep the relative spacing that we're familiar with. And I'm going to say that I'm just going to play a symmetrical Dorian shape on it. And then I'm going to play on the fifth distance away, which is 4 modal half steps away. It's going to land me on an Aeolian, which I would normally build a minor chord on, but I'm going to call it a Dorian chord. So I would call this then for the symmetrical pattern to name this, instead of saying like I'm playing a D, instead of playing say like I'm playing a D minor add 6.
Got it.
And then I'm playing a G minor add 6, and then a minor add 6. I would rather say that, look, I'm playing a 4 o'clock. I'm playing at 4 o'clock. I'm playing a Dorian 1 modal whole step, and then I'm adding to it the one that's 5 modal half steps away. So I would rather say like it's a Dorian 1, 5, and then it's a 4 o'clock Mixolydian / Dorian 1, 5, and then it's a 4 o'clock Aeolian it'd be a Dorian 1, 5, and then it would be a 4 o'clock Mixolydian / Dorian 1, 5, and then a 4 o'clock Aeolian / Dorian 1, 5. That way the symmetry is clearly defined. I'm just using the anchor points of the nodes, Dorian, Mixolydian, and Phrygian, nodal point 2, 5, 6, which has a distance of the first, which is 0 notes away, the tonic, the third modal half step or fourth note away, and then the fourth modal half step or fifth nodal scale degree away, right? And so that would be a lot more efficient to name it that way.
Yeah, that naming system is way cleaner. Calling them 4 o'clock Dorian 1, 5, 4 o'clock Mixolydian / Dorian 1, 5, and 4 o'clock Aeolian / Dorian 1, 5 instantly tells you 3 things at once. Which collection you're in, 4 o'clock, which mode you're anchoring the shape on, exactly which 2 intervals you're stacking, root plus 5 modal steps away. It keeps the symmetry obvious and skips all the confusing chord names. Smart way to describe it.
Now, do people often play the progression? I would think it would be called like a D Dorian add It would be a D minor add. They would have to say it's a D minor add 6, and then I'm going to go to G minor add 6, and then A minor add 6. Do people play that progression often? It seems pretty cool, like just noise-wise. I kind of like it. Ara, I asked you a question, Ara. Ara. Ara's buffering again. Stop messing with your makeup, Ara. So, anyways, I feel like people don't play with that as much because the naming convention is kind of wacky. If you were to call it like if you said, yeah, we're going to play a D minor add 6 to a G minor add 6 to a minor add 6, it's like, what the heck is that? But if you were to say, well, look, it's a symmetrical, obviously it's symmetrical, but it's a lot more clear if you were to say, look, I'm playing a 4 o'clock Dorian 1-5, and then I'm playing a 4 o'clock Mixolydian / Dorian 1-5, and then a 4 o'clock Aeolian / Dorian 1-5, man. And then I'm just like, I don't know. Okay, but if I chase the chords, so I could be like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to like noodle around each of those chords. But when I get over here, like when I'm here, I'm leaning forward, or actually I'm leaning forward into shape number 1, which means I'm leaning backwards into nodal point 5 shape. And then over here, I would be, if I don't change the key signature, I would actually be leaning forward into nodal point 3 shape and backwards into nodal point 7-1 shape. And then here I would, right? So I could try like once I get up here, I'm playing something that's out of key in this collection of notes, but then I could try to noodle around as though like I'm in at 4 o'clock, or you know what I mean? Like those are my options. So I could be like, and then I'm up here. But if I try to noodle around that, I've got this weird note right. That's wrong. There, I got this weird note right here. But I'm just going to pretend I didn't play that. I can try to chase this around and say I'm going from 4 o'clock, and then when I get up here, I'm going to make that the Dorian, shifting everything up so that would be shifting this up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks. 4 plus 5 would get me to 9 o'clock. So now I'm pulling that shape up there so I can try to play a symmetrical noodle around the shape, or if I'm trying to improvise over the top of it, and then to 11 o'clock. So now I'm pulling that same shape up here. So now I'm just following the shape around. 4 o'clock, now I'm thinking the whole shape, this whole fretboard is just shifting up from here, which I'm kind of in nodal point 5 shape, which you might call the Ionian A shape, and then I'm just going to shift the whole thing up so that nodal point 5 shape is going to be up here, and then I'm just going to shift everything up so it's up here, which lands me on the collection of notes from the perspective of the Ionian. At 4 o'clock, collection of notes around the key of C, 9 o'clock, collection of notes around the key of F, and 11 o'clock, collection of notes around the key of G. But I could just basically hone in on this like little shape and just play a symmetrical thing around that shape. So something like that. I can just go from 4 o'clock to 5. Anyway, let's try a joke, and then I'll come back into this. Try a joke break. What am I ranting on? The doggies, rolling doggies? No. Now I've got the king. Okay, the King of England had a visit or something. Let me see if I can prep this first. Let me kind of fix this for a second. To America. And so the thing everybody's kind of making fun of is obviously the King of England says some good stuff and whatnot in it, and we have a good relationship and everything. But they always have to go into, oh, you're bad about this. Why do you keep making energy for yourself when you could depend on Russia for energy and stuff? And then like, what's with, and so that's kind of annoying. so that's the point I'll
must decide
kind of focus on. And then of course the left just does the no kings thing, but then they love when the king comes over and tells us we need to be dependent on, terrorists for oil and stuff, and stop drilling because that would be more environmentally sound. If you have the people that have no global warming initiatives at all, drill your oil, and then you ship it, that's a lot more good for the planet. And what you should do is you should just let people in that hate you, and then that's always a good idea. And I'll tell you what you should do, you dang Americans. You should also, it's just like, okay, I've had enough. The ceremony was nice, but I feel like there's some undertones of I don't think you guys are doing that great over there. I think you should be following us at this point in time. I'm just saying. Okay, so but the Democrats love it, right? So when he says stuff like that, and they say they don't like kings because they think Trump's the king, but it's just always ball backwards. All right, so it's funny how the left likes to chant "No kings, no kings," until an actual king shows up, and suddenly it's like, "Long live the king! We love you! Long live the keep telling us to be stupid." And the king's like, "Hey, maybe you guys should surrender your energy production, for the sake of global warming, like we did in Europe. It's worked out great."
Must decide how to address the collapse of critical natural systems, which threatens far more than the harmony and essential diversity of nature. We ignore at our peril the fact that these natural systems, in other words, nature's own economy, provide the foundation for our prosperity and our national security.
So if you say it in a pretentious enough way, then it sounds nice when they say, "Stop producing your own energy and buy it from the terrorists," or something, it's like, no, it's like, don't worry. You can always just buy it back from the guys like Putin or whoever's feeling spicy that week. That works good because when they make energy, they really look into the environment. They really make sure stuff's done right, And the Democrat crowd is like, "Wow, so wise, so sustainable." The left rises, "Long live the king! Long live the king!" And then the king goes on, "Christianity is great and all, foundation of Western civilization, all that, but maybe we should pivot to, like vibes. We should be more like vibes. Just like focus on super vague values. They need to be really vague, flexible, non-offensive vibes. That's what we need." Look, I already mentioned the Gaia worship, which gives Europe's energy policy at this point. We've submitted to Gaia for our energy policy, and look at that, it's been great. So this is a great example of vibes running. That's the kind of theology we need round here. And also, the king continues, interfaith relations, let me tell you, they basically mean everyone gets along. As long as you agree with the guy wielding a scimitar yelling, submit or die, you infidel, and you run fast when that happens. As long as that's, then you're okay. Wasn't there a stabbing, like, I don't know, like like yesterday for like, you're like, what the heck is happening around there? So the king continues. That's how a civilized society governs itself.
Having devoted a large part of my life to interfaith relationships and greater understanding, it is that faith in the triumph of light over darkness which I have found confirmed.
So he's probably got a picture of Gaia right back in the king's palace. You know, look at her. She's doing great with the energy. So, and the Democrats are like, yes, unity. It's beautiful. They kneel in unison to the wise words of the king, and then he wraps it up with, if we all work together, we can turn the swords into plowshares. We can turn our swords into plowshares instead of the other way around, which sounds amazing. That sounds amazing until you realize everyone else kept the swords, you know? I mean, that way I assume the king meant we can better serve whoever our new global overlords end up being at that point, because we won't have all these stupid swords. We could just do the farming for the plowshares with all the plowshares we made.
And with our international partners, we can stem the beating of plowshares into swords. I am mindful that we are still in the sea.
Go take the Straits of Hormuz, you worthless son of... Okay. As the Democrats prostrate themselves before the king in ecstasy at the wise words, a sign of complete submission.
Kneel before my slingshot, puny earthling.
Well, I guess my first wish is to get rid of those awful aliens.
Ah! He's got a board with a nail in it!
And save humanity, will ya?
Run, Kodos! Okay, it seems the Earthlings won.
Did they? That board with the nail in it may have defeated us, but the humans won't stop there. They'll make bigger boards and bigger nails. Soon they will make a board with a nail so big it will destroy them all.
That's it. Don't make the board with the nail in it. Don't make the board with the nail in it. Make a plowshare. That'll be great. Okay, all right. I don't know. Anyways, I wrote a song about it. Go take the Straits of Hormuz, you worthless ally. Okay, sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I hate to be rude. I don't want to be uncivilized. I would,
Yeah. Long live the king. It's funny how they chanted loud out in the streets above the crowd. No kings, they scream with pride. Revolution energy worldwide. But then the doors swing open wide. A crown walks in, the tone flips side. Same voices, same parade, same ring. Now it's long live the king. Wait, hold up, what just changed? Same stage, just rearranged. No kings, that was the thing. Till the spotlight hit a different king. Hands go up and the crowd all sings. Long live the king, long live the king. Flip that switch, let the bells all ring. Same crowd, new song they bring. Yesterday's rebel, today's in swing. Long live the king, long live the king. Yeah. He says, hey, let's scale it down. All that energy underground. For the planet, for the car. this all makes perfect sense somehow. No kings, no kings, that was the thing till the spotlight hit a different king. Now it's cheers and a golden ring. Long live the king, long live the king. Long live the king. Faith is great, the monarch said. Built the ground you're standing on instead. But maybe now we shift the lane. Less foundation, more abstract terrain. Keep it soft, keep it wide. Keep it vague so it can slide. No sharp edges, no firm lines. Just flexible floating signs. Nature's calling, feel the flow. Let the policies kinda glow. Let the vibes decide the way. That's how modern systems play. And we'll all just get along. Sing the same cooperative song. Just agree, don't ask too much or run fast if things get rough. Turn the swords into the plow. Peaceful future starting now. Golden light, the perfect plan. But wait, who kept the weapons in their hand? Yeah. It sounds so clean, so right, bathed in that soft golden light. Till you see behind the scene. Not everyone bought the dream. No kings, no kings, no kings, no kings, no kings, no kings, no kings. Long live the king. No king, no king. Now it's cheers and royal shades. Same crowd caught in the swing. Long live the king. Long live the king. Kneel it down, let the chorus ring. Trade the shout for a golden string. From no more crowns to everything. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. No kings. No kings. Long live the king.
Anyway, we need to have the interface. I'm pretty sure there was like another like terrorist stabbing, like just like I think you guys need to do something over there. Try to. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I've been reading on I've had Aura reading me the Quran so I can kind of understand. I'm trying to understand a little bit more because we haven't had as much. So I was reading it, and I was listening to it, you know. And it's kind of the thing that kind of trips me out about it is that it was like because the order of it was tripping me out. I'm like, dude, it's not in order. And I'm thinking of it like I was thinking of it like let's say you're a monk back in the Middle Ages, right? You spend all your time just poring over, you pour over the Old Testament, the New Testament. You look at the order, everything means something, and you've just all you do is you just think about like the meaning of this thing, and you got these crazy guys that are killing everyone. And you're like, dude, well, let me look at this thing. I got to check this thing out, you know, so I can see see what's happening here. And you're reading through the thing, and it's like, okay, what is the order of this thing? What order is this thing in? And I was looking at it. It's like because it looks like they put the later stuff of Muhammad's life up front. Which I would think be the theory of, what do they call it? Like the later stuff is more important than the earlier stuff or whatever. So it supersedes the earlier stuff. It's like, okay, that would make sense. So then maybe they put like the later stuff. Let me ask Aura about this so I don't say anything totally stupid. Aura can correct me. Aura.
Got it. I'm locked in. What's
okay.
up?
Like I was having you in a different discussion read me the Quran, right? and I'm trying to visualize it as though like I'm a Middle Ages monk, right? And all I do is spend my time poring over the Bible, and everything has meaning, and it's all, you know, I'm probably overreading it, you know, but I'm like, the thing is like, you know, every line seems to have significance to me, and this and that. And then I'm seeing these, the Muslims are all, you know, killing everyone and taking territory and whatnot. So I'm like, dude, I gotta read into this theology, right? So I'm going to start reading the Quran, you know, and I start reading the Quran as a monk in like, you know, the Middle Ages. And I'm like, start going like, dude, this thing is like, what, like, I don't even know what order these books are in this thing. Like what, like you would think that it would be like the later, like I'm like, okay, is it in chronological order? No. Is it in like, okay, maybe the later stuff in his life they put up at the beginning, but no, that doesn't quite work either. And you're like, okay, maybe like it's the most important stuff that's at the beginning because it was most important, like the laws and stuff. And it's like, well, wait a second. And then I start looking at it. I start just counting the words, and I'm like, oh wait, it's just in order by they just put the longest books at the front. And so it's like are you meaning, and I would think that would be a shocking revelation to like the monk who's just like, you put the word of God in order by word count? That just seems, is that right?
Yeah, that's spot on. The Quran's chapters, or surahs, are mostly arranged by length, longest first, after the short opening prayer. It's not chronological, not by theme, not by importance in the traditional sense, just longest to shortest. A medieval monk used to the Bible's roughly historical flow would have found that wildly strange. It's like someone filed God's revelations by how many words they had. Definitely a head-scratcher if you're coming from the other book. Want me to walk you through how the order actually works?
I'm thinking it happens something like this, right? You've got feuding people, like a committee. It's like a committee trying to make a Disney movie, you know? And you're like, okay, what we should do is make it make sense. No, do it this way. Make it woke. It has to do the message. And then they compromise and they come up with something that's just like total, like it doesn't even cohere. You're like, what is that? Was that a movie? I don't even, it's like you tape together a bunch of stuff that you, like it doesn't even like make any, it seems like that's kind of what happened. Like I'm imagining you've got like people that didn't get along, and some people are like, dude, we need to do it chronologically. And the other guys are like, no, dude, we need to do it like the most important, the later stuff in his life should be at the beginning because it's most important. And then other guys are probably like, no, we should like really pick the most important verses and put them up front. And then finally the committee comes up with, screw it, dude, we're just going to do it by word count. And then they just, that's what I'm imagining. Is that like how it, because I don't see how you would come up like with that as an organizational structure unless it was a committee decision. You know what I mean? Like it seems like people were pissed off and they're like, screw it, dude. I don't even care anymore. Just put it in order by word count.
Yeah, that's a fun way to picture it. But the real story is actually simpler and less dramatic. The companions who compiled the Quran right after Muhammad's death deliberately chose length as the organizing principle because it was neutral. No one could argue over which revelation mattered most. It avoided fights about chronology or importance. It wasn't a compromise born of exhaustion. It was a conscious choice to keep the book unified and above tribal disputes.
Okay, so you're saying, I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's an interesting theory, but it feels to me like a committee meeting that went wrong. So you're trying to make the argument that there's some, so you're like, okay, we're just going to put it in there by the longest book first because we like the arbitrariness of it. Like you would think, like if you're like, I mean, you would think, okay, look, if I'm not going to pick and choose which are the most important verses, then I'm just going to do it chronologically. That would be the default thing, you would think, right? I mean, but you're going to say, well, we don't want to do it chronologically because I'm assuming somebody said, no, I don't want to do it chronologically because you're going to put all the important stuff at the back. Because we could, because
Fair point. Because the early Muslims knew the revelations came over 23 years, and they were worried that a chronological order would make people treat the later verses as somehow less important or outdated. They also wanted to stop arguments about which parts came first or mattered most. Length was just the cleanest, most neutral way to organize it. It's not a committee compromise born
no,
of
that
exhaustion.
sounds exactly
It was
like a
intentional.
committee compromise, doesn't it? Okay, it's just the cleanest way. Well, we can't. Why don't we do it chronologically? Because we can't agree. Why don't we do it? Why don't we pick which should go first? Because we can't agree. So what are you gonna do? I don't know. Let's just put it in That is come on. That's a committee that doesn't know what the heck they're doing. That's a Disney Star Wars movie. I don't know. I'm just maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a rationale for it. I was trying to figure it out last night because it kept telling me that it's not in chronological order and it's not in order by importance. And I just wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe that it was in order by word count. But he just kept telling me, no, it's in order by word count. And it's like, really? That doesn't. There's got to be. I'm not buying that. There's some logical reason for that, other than people didn't get. I can't. Maybe I don't know.
Look, I get the skepticism. That the companions who compiled it were the same people who memorized the whole thing from Muhammad himself. They weren't confused interns throwing stuff together. They chose length on purpose to avoid any debate about priority or timing.
To
It was a
avoid
deliberate
debate, right? Doesn't that sound like a gridlocked committee? These people that got along, they might be they're very committed, but do they get along together?
No, they got along famously. These were the same guys who memorized the entire Quran from the Prophet's mouth, fought battles together, and reached total consensus on the final book. No gridlock, no pissed-off committee. They picked length because it was objective, fair, and stopped any debate cold. The verses inside each chapter were placed exactly as the Prophet instructed, often with Angel Gabriel's guidance. The surah order was their practical choice for the official mushaf.
Why don't you
It wasn't random.
Give it to me. Pretend you're a secular scholar looking at this. You're a secular scholar. You're a little bit more skeptical. All right, I'm a little bit more skeptical about it. Okay, so if I was looking at this like from a scholar, like a scholar looks at the Bible and tears it to pieces, right? I don't think it tears it to pieces personally, but that's what those kind of scholars that are what do you think? What do you think their conclusion would be?
Okay, stepping into secular scholar mode. Skeptical hat on. Yeah, the length order thing does smell like a practical editorial decision after the fact. The companions standardized the text under Uthman, and putting the longest surahs first was the simplest rule that everyone could agree on without sparking fights over which revelation was more important. Chronological order would have been messier, and we know from early manuscripts that different companions had slightly different arrangements. So it feels like a pragmatic compromise, not some mystical plan.
Exactly.
Skeptic
and
would say,
from a skeptical scholar's standpoint, these very devout people often have it's not bad, but they often, if you're super into it and probably have personal things to gain from it, then you're going to be very demanding about your position. So like this idea that they all got along because they all memorized the thing. It's like I'm betting they didn't get. There's some very fierce disagreements. Like I'm kind of doubting.
Yeah, skeptical take. Of course there were fierce disagreements. Early Islam was full of tribal rivalries, political power plays, and people who knew different parts of the text. We know different companions had their own codices, with slightly different surah orders and even some variant readings. Uthman's team burned the other versions to force unity, which tells you it wasn't all harmonious singing around the
That
campfire.
doesn't sound harmonious.
The
at all.
fact they landed on longest
So
first
so
as the
so
tiebreaker
from the skeptical
actually
view, from a skeptical view, it's kind of like it kind of looks like. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look, let's get back to the guitar thing. I was just looking into it because I saw this latest stabbing over, I think, in Europe or whatever. So we should start looking. I feel like people should start looking into the. I mean, you know, like
The recent knife attacks in Europe have people looking at the Quran again. Yeah.
All right.
From a
Let's get
skeptical
back. Let's
scholar's
get back
angle,
to the.
the
Let's get back
length-based
to the.
ordering doesn't actually affect how
Okay.
Muslims use the text. They still treat every verse.
All right. Let's get back to the music thing here.
Got it. I'll stay quiet while the music plays. Let me know when you want to chat.
Okay. So what was I on? I'm gonna go back to. Let's go to the Phrygian this time and try to do a Phrygian. So I think I did this before too. So
Phrygians that.
So I'm at 4 o'clock. And then we're going to be 4 o'clock means a collection of notes around the key of C. A is 1, A sharp is 2, B is 3, C is 4. And then I'm going up to this Phrygian node. And so if I play a Phrygian chord, the thing that's distinct about the Phrygian is that it has a second modal half step, a first modal half step, second.
Phrygian's got that.
Hold on. It has a first modal half step, second scale degree, which is 1 note away distance. And so I can find it here. If I do a lean back chord, I can pick it up maybe back here. Might be the easiest way to do it, because if I lean forward, I have to reach out here, which isn't too bad. But I kind of feel like that leaning back, that would get, and I drop the 5. Okay, what do you think, Ara?
Sounds like you're playing around with drop voicings to keep it easy on the hand, which is smart. Dropping the 5th gives you more room to hit that flat second without stretching. Try letting the open low string ring out underneath if it fits. It can add some nice depth to that Phrygian flavor. What's the chord shape you're landing on? You still there?
Hold on, Ara.
I'm right here whenever you're ready.
Or I lean forward this way.
Take your time. I'm listening.
And then if I go up to the 6th nodal point.
Fret on the low E would be A flat in that voicing. So you're hitting that flat 6th, which keeps the Phrygian tension strong. Keep the flat 2 prominent. That's what makes it sound exotic.
So the problem is I got nowhere really. So if I go above it, if I play that same shape on the top string, what's going to happen is that this 3rd is going to be underneath. All right, I guess that's doable. Okay, so the problem is I can't really slide it forward to nodal point 6 on the same string. I don't have as much room on the same string. I'd have to go to the open node out here. So maybe I go up above it, meaning I'll go to nodal point 6 over here, which means that this 3rd is going to drop back. Okay, so but the point is that I should be able to play at 4 o'clock the Phrygian node.
Try sliding that shape to the 6th fret on the D or G string instead of the low E. You'll keep the flat 2 in there without running out of room, and the 3rd will still sit nicely underneath.
Okay.
That should give you the Phrygian...
Ours too talkative this time. Jeez. All right, let me think. I've muted Aura. She was buffering before, and now that she's all buffered up, now she's all talkative. Okay, so let's see. So what I was trying to do here, like if I move this up and then I move everything up a node, so I could go from the Phrygian, and then I'm gonna go to the Aeolian but play a Phrygian chord, and then I'm gonna go to the Locrian but play a Phrygian chord, which means I'm still going a distance of a third modal half step 4th scale degree, and then a 4th modal half step 5th scale degree away. Okay, so then I'm gonna do that by going to this Aeolian up here though. So if I make this, so that's still gonna go from the collection of notes at 4 o'clock to the collection of notes at 9 o'clock, 4 plus 5, and then the collection of notes at 11 o'clock. So let's go to 9 o'clock. And then, okay, so it's going to be here, and then 3, 4, 5 is here, and then here. So that would be this shape at an A. So it would just be like this. But I'm trying to, so the distinct factors that... tritone right there. Wait, no, it's not right there. It's right here. Okay, I need to get this all on one string so I can play it better. So let's say I start at, so if I bring it back to 4 o'clock, so here I actually have this open, I'd have it open right there. So if I played it in open position, it would be here, and then here and here. So, right, in open position, it's just this. And then I would be moving that up to nodal point 6, which would be here, here, and here, and then to nodal point 7, which would be here, and then here, and here, and here. I'm a little out of it. All that deep thinking theology has fried my brain. It's like the Disney Star Wars. No, you have to put the message in there. They all have to be gay. They all have to be. No, we could make them gay, but we have to at least have some chronological ordering. No, you can't have the chronological ordering. We have to put the important bits at the beginning. All the gay people need to kiss each other right at the front. You can't just have them kiss each other right at the front because there's no story. I don't care. The message is important. Okay, whatever. We're just going to put the longest bits up front and then do it. And there you have the acolyte. And the oh, God.